Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of the pointless things, where we fly and buy pointless statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 is Gindle the Green, and Gindle the Green is a gnome mage trainer located in Thelzamar in Loch Modan. And I think it's pretty obvious that Gindle the Green is a reference to Lord of the Rings, referencing Gandalf the Grey or Gandalf the White, depending. And Gindle the Green was added in Cataclysm, so if you're a classic WoW person that came to Loch Modan and you were like, I've never seen Gindle the Green, that's why. Also, Gindle is making some very questionable fashion choices, like he's got the green hat and the green robe and the green shoulder pads, but then he's wearing white socks with sandals. Like, dude, what? Like, why did he decide to do that? Why didn't he just get some green shoes? Like, just go full green, man. Props to him for just doing what he wants to do, but I just, it's a little weird. But yeah, outside of those things, there's nothing too special about Gindle, but I do think he's a fun class trainer. He's a mage trainer, right? So that also kind of ties into like Gandalf is a wizard mage training, right? So either way, I wanted to put him on the list, and that's why he's number 10. 9. Number 9 is Zen Balai, and Zen Balai is a jungle troll druid trainer located at Nighthaven in Moonglade. However, before the Cataclysm, she actually lived in Brackenwall Village. And so if you are somebody that played more classic WoW than retail WoW, you probably do remember her more from Brackenwall Village, where she sold the Expert First Aid book, as well as the Manual Heavy Silk Bandage and Manual Mageweave Bandage. But then, like I said, after the Cataclysm, she moved from Brackenwall Village to Moonglade and became the druid trainer instead of a reagent first aid trainer. And so I wanted to put her on the list because I truly think it's impressive that she's went down a line of just terrible jobs to have in the World of Warcraft economy. Like, she's been a first aid trainer, which then got removed from the game, and then became a druid trainer, which then pretty much lost all sustainability because people could just learn their skills on their own. I mean, they really could have made her like an archaeology trainer to complete the trifecta, but it's, she would have probably been like, I'm done. Just remove me from the game at this point. And so, yeah, I decided to put her on the list because it's not every day you find somebody that's had two jobs in World of Warcraft that have both become invalid. And so that's why Zen Balai is number 9. 8. For number 8, we actually have two class trainers, both of which are mage trainers. So one of which is Merrick Nurabit, and he's a gnome mage trainer located in the Dunmurrow starting zone area. And then we have Kaelistia Hatebringer, who is a banshee mage trainer located in the magic quarter of the Undercity. So Merrick Nurabit is on this list because he's just a goofy mage trainer, and he actually got removed after classic WoW, so you can't actually find him in retail WoW, but probably for good reason. He was a gnome mage trainer that just wanted to drink and not actually train anybody. And so when you talk to him, he says, oh yeah, the arcane arts, of course. Yeah, here's what you need to know, Kren. Don't get into too much trouble. Save some coin to buy me an ale, or any spells you might want, and stay the heck away from Gnomeregan. Other than that, have a good day. I'll be here if you need me or want to train or whatever. Meanwhile, then we have Kaelistia Hatebringer, who I decided to put on this list because she's one of the only banshees in the game, as of right now, to wield a weapon. So I just thought that was pretty cool. And so yeah, I decided to combine these because they're both mage trainers and they don't have anything too crazy about them. It's just like one's a drunk gnome that doesn't want to train you and the other's just a banshee that carries a mage staff, which is pretty cool. But you know what? I like it, and that's why they're number 8. 7. Number 7 are both Strahd Farzin and Baba Gaia Shadowcleft. And these are two warlock trainers located in Ratchet. And I just thought they were interesting, starting with Strahd Farzin. It says here, when he was facing down his Fell Hunter, he barely escaped with his life, but eventually he became a powerful warlock, teaching greater summoning. And I think the coolest part about him, though, isn't really his lore. It's the fact that he has the option to train your spells for money, just like you could back in classic World of Warcraft. However, due to automatic learning, there's actually no chance for anybody to actually learn spells from him. But you can like literally click on him with the little book icon and see where you would be able to learn spells. There's just nothing to learn. So really, Strahd might be the last remaining true classic class trainer in World of Warcraft. And then we have Baba Gaia Shadowcleft, and I really like her because she's clearly a reference to Baba Yaga, which is the witch-like character in Slavic folklore. So I just thought that was cool. She also has an eye patch, and how could you not like a warlock with an eye patch? That does look pretty sick. So either way, that's why Baba Gaia and Strahd Farzin are number 7. 6. Number 6 is Daphne Funky Beats, and Daphne Funky Beats is a gnome located in the Pig and Whistle Tavern in Old Town in Stormwind City. And Daphne is kind of like the cooler version of Merrick Nurabit, the drunk gnome guy from earlier, because she's just here having a good time, dance with everybody. She's like, yo, pull up a stool and join me for a drink or two, friend. Wait, hey, where'd all the stools go? And then she's a warrior trainer, so she would train warriors, but if you weren't a warrior, she would just be like, hey, you're not a warrior, but you're still pretty cool. Come on, get a drink on me. And then she just literally busts into like dance parties, and everybody all around just starts dancing, and they just like have dance parties here. It's a great time. In fact, I would say out of all the former class trainers, she's having probably some of the best times, because there's so many other class trainers, they're just stuck in some random location. Nobody's going to you anymore. You can't actually teach anybody anything outside of like queuing people up for proving grounds or whatever it is. But then you got Daphne Funky Beats just drinking and dancing and having a great time all the time. So that's why Daphne Funky Beats is number 6. 5. Number 5 is Amalthazad, and Amalthazad is a lich located at Arcarus the Ebonhold, and he is a Frost Death Knight trainer, so really just the Death Knight trainer. And when you talk to him, he says, "We are what the cold wind carries, the icy chill of despair, the cold embrace of death." And now instead of training you, he just lets you into proving grounds, like all the other class trainers. And he's actually got some really cool notes and trivia here on the Warcraft wiki. So it says, before WoW Shadowlands, Amalthazad was one of the few friendly liches on Azeroth in World of Warcraft, the other being Tanathal, and the only one with whom players may interact. It also says he has an invisible follower recruiting spell with the following description: Champion Amalthazad. Amalthazad was once a powerful frost mage who fought against the forces of the Lich King. Arthas, impressed with the mage's power, raised him into undeath as the Lich King Amalthazad. The spell is associated to a buff that says Amalthazad employs the frozen powers of undeath to lay waste to all who dare to oppose him. So yeah, Amalthazad is pretty cool, and that's why he's number 5. 4. Number 4 is Gold Skimmer, and Gold Skimmer used to be called Sister Gold Skimmer, and she was a goblin priest trainer located at KTC headquarters on Kazan, and she could be seen there standing on a pile of gold, and she would just stand there all the time, standing on her big gold pile, looking to train some priests, and when you would talk to her, she would say, "You don't have to be a priest to tithe. Your coin is just as welcome, sir." But then she moved up the chain, and undermined, she became Mother Gold Skimmer and now runs her own Sewerside Chapel in Hovel Hill, where she has an accountant and a bodyguard and pretty much everything you would expect of a sleazy church. And now when you talk to Mother Gold Skimmer, she says, "Looking to reserve your front row seat in the afterlife? No post-mortem refunds." And so I do think it's really funny, right? Like, she was supposed to be this holy priest trainer, and then she's just like, this sucks. I gotta figure out how to get out of here. And then she just started her own mega church and is just like, hey, come give me money. And so yeah, compared to all the other class trainers, she's doing pretty great, even if she might be a little scummy. And that's why Gold Skimmer is number 4. 3. Number 3 is Gurag, and Gurag is a Furbolg shaman trainer located in the Crystal Hall of the Exodar, which is probably why you've never heard of this guy, and if you have, it's because you actually went to the Exodar, which is impressive. I think the only time I'd really go to the Exodar was when I was playing my mage, and I could just teleport there and be like, hey, cool, just to like mix it up a little bit, you know? And one of the reasons I like this guy is he's one of the few Furbolg trainers or NPCs in general just outside of Furbolg areas. Like, obviously, you're gonna find Furbolg NPCs if you go to like little Furbolg towns or whatever it might be, but finding one outside of an actual Furbolg area, like in a capital city, is pretty wild. In fact, I read here on Wowhead that he is part of the Stillpine tribe, which is one of only 3 known uncorrupted Furbolg tribes. But then I realized this comment was written in 2008, and obviously now we have many more uncorrupted Furbolg tribes. We have Blackmaw, Blackwood, the Bristlelimb, the Grizzleweld, the Longclaw, the Smolderhide, the Stillpine, the Timbermaw, the Wildlands, the Winter Pelt, and the Barkskin. But either way, I still think Gurag is pretty cool, and that's why he's number 3. 2. Number 2 are the Goblin trainers located at Bilgewater Harbor and Azshara. And we have quite a few Goblin trainers here. We have Max Avalanche, who is the Goblin Shaman trainer. We have Evil Fingers, the Warlock trainer. We have Fizz Lighter, the Mage trainer. Jesse Boomfist, the Monk trainer. And the Warrior Matic NX-01. And speaking of the Warrior Matic NX-01, apparently it might be a reference to the Starship Enterprise NX-01 from the Star Trek spin-off series of the same name. And despite being a training dummy, it's actually listed as a humanoid. But I really like how all of their names are just kind of funny pun types of names. We have Jesse Boomfist, who just says, "Gunpowder's useless if you can't control when it explodes. Too late, they're gone. Too early, you're gone." And then Evil Fingers says, "Look, you don't even want to know the sort of stuff I could teach you. Seriously, I'd melt your brain. Go play nice somewhere else." And then on top of that, they'll all just start fighting each other randomly. They're just like throwing spells at each other. So it's very goblin-esque, very chaotic, and I just think it's a lot of fun on top of just having all these different types of class trainers. So that's why I decided to put them at number 2. 1. And number 1 is Ting Strong of Stomach, and Ting Strong of Stomach is a Pandaren monk trainer located at the inn in Deathnell in the Tirisfal Glades. And this is such a weird interaction. So Ting is just standing here and these undead come up to her and they're like, "Here, try this." And she's like, "Okay." And she drinks from this vial, which then turns her green and surrounds her in this green smoke. And then she's like, "Wow, it's interesting." And they're like, "Oh yes, I'm sorry it wasn't to your liking." And then they walk away and they're like, "She should have been a pile of bones and slime. Strong stomach indeed." And then Ting says, "I will say, the Forsaken have strange taste when it comes to brew. I get the feeling they're not exactly preparing it for friends, though." It also says here that during the Mist of Pandaria beta, she was actually known as Ting the Intoxicated, and then it got changed, probably because I don't really think she's like a drunk walking around. I think she's just got a good stomach. But yeah, I just really like this interaction of like, she's this Pandaren monk trainer that came here to train up the undead monks, and they just are like, "Who is this?" And they keep giving her like poison potions or weird things, and she's just like, "This is great." And they're just like, "I don't know." So either way, that's why Ting Strong of Stomach is number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more Top 10s, you could check out Profession Trainer, since that obviously ties into this video, or you could check out Stained Glass, which I made last week. Also, like the video and comment below if you have a favorite class trainer. Okay? Okay. See you.